So we do have, I think we've covered everything that's on the table here, except that we have a new segment.
We both have a new segment, except they're called something a little bit different.
Yeah, so my segment is called What's in Lisa's Drawers.
I'm going to check out what's in Lisa's drawers.
And yours is called?
Mine is called, let's see, what do we...
Stash Diet?
Yeah, it's a stash diet. So,
you want to go first?
I'll go first. So, I think I've mentioned I'm moving my little small sewing room into another room in my home.
Yeah, you're kind of over.
I'm kind of over here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've kind of been off camera here for Lisa.
You got most of your face was in the...
It's new. We're testing it out. But I'm moving from one room to the other, and anytime you do that, particularly if you're kind of doing the Marie Kondo stuff, have you watched her stuff?
No. So have you seen my hoarder hole here?
So, but she says
but I will
you touch it, and if you love it, then you keep it. Well, I love everything in my craft room. It's not going anywhere.
I can't throw my washing machine out.
I like the one who says, yeah, I threw out my bills, I threw out my
bras.
treadmill, my bra. Oh, yeah, that would be the first to go. Definitely.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway.
Nobody else would like that, but
That's true for me.
For me, they'd be like, oh, sister, you need to stay home.
On that note. Are we going to cut that part?
I don't know.
I think we should leave it in. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have a story to tell. Can I tell a story?
Yes, go. You got the floor.
Okay, so years ago, I used to go to a quilting retreat in Sisters, which is kind of how I ended up wanting to move there eventually. But my really good friend Jan has a log cabin mansion in Sisters, and she has a long arm. I have a long arm. We had several friends who had long arms, and so we'd have a long arm retreat in Sisters, Oregon during Quilt Week. And the first time I went down there, I really didn't know anybody, and I had only barely knew Jan. I had met her at a show, and we had been emailing back and forth, and she's like, come on down, I know you wanted to see the quilt show, come on down and stay with me. Sorry, I'm gonna sit on my hands. I'm a hand togger.
All the people on your video will be like, I'm seasick. And mine will be like, I can only see half of Lori's head.
Anywho, so I'm down there with this group of ladies. There was probably about 8 or 10 of us, and we were just having a grand old time. I mean, there was food everywhere. There might have been a little bit of wine. There might have been, but we were there the whole week, and so we're talking business. We're talking, quilting business. We're talking quilting. We're talking stitching. We're talking, families, kids, blah 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 blah. Anyway, her husband was always gone during the week. He flew out every Sunday night and came back every Thursday night or something like that. And so he came home that Thursday night, and he's so cool. He made everybody dinner, and he just an awesome guy, Ron, just an awesome guy. And so he kind of hung out with us a little bit. We're sitting around the fireplace, and we're chit-chatting. It's been a long day. We're drinking wine. It's after dinner, and
more wine.
Yeah. So Ron, of course, having worked all day and having flown clear across country, he's like, okay, ladies, good night. I'm going to bed. And so he trots off into bed, and Jan, she kind of like looks like this, waits for the door to close, and then she reaches out and unsnaps her bra, and she rips it out, and she flings it up, and it's a log cabin, so it has one of these enormous, large stone fireplaces with these little things kind of sticking out. And her bra catches up. I mean, like
20 feet in the air.
Well, about 10 feet, and none of us could reach it. She's like my height. I'm not even 5 foot tall. So she flings it up. She goes, "Okay, girls, the bras can come off. He's in bed." And I laughed so hard. I thought, oh boy, I am in the right crowd.
Right?
But anyway, it was so funny. It was so funny. I will never forget. We don't let Jan forget. And she couldn't get it down. So the next morning, Ron comes out.
He's like, what happened last night?
The bra is hanging from, Anyway, so sorry, squirrel, sidetrack. But back to moving my craft room. So anytime you move something, you kind of, pile everything up, and you're going through it, and you're sorting, and I'm trying to organize my stuff. I've got sewing, I've got knitting, I've got cross stitch, I have quilting, I have stuff from my garment construction days, hairpin lace. I mean, all that stuff. So I'm trying to look through all. I'm not here. I'm looking back and forth. I'm trying to.
I know it's okay. Me too.
I'm trying to look through all of my boxes and stuff, and it's like, oh, what's this? Do I need to sort it out? So my segment is a stash dive, and I think it's going to be a regular segment because I have no idea what I'm going to find. This is 30, 40 years full of stuff. So
when she opened the box, my jaw dropped, and I'm like, what you got in there?
So I'm going to do a few quick ones, and then I have a few that are miscellaneous.
I'm going to tip us a
You're
little
going to
bit
tip
this
us?
way,
Okay.
so it's a little bit easier for people to see.
So this one, I have kind of resorted to containers. These are plastic containers.
Oh my gosh,
You
I
can
saw
get these
this and I was like,
You can get these at Michael's or similar places. I'll just take the...
Yeah, a lot of times these are in the scrapbooking section.
Yes.
Right, so you can put your 12 by 12 scrapbook paper in there. These are handy. Nice size to slide into the bed.
But
you're trying to hide your stash from your spouse.
Most quilt blocks are no larger than 12 by 12. So they work really great for when you have a flat quilt block that you do this. Anyway, so here, this is a mix of wool and cotton applique.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I love this.
And the designer's name is the Vintage Spool. She does a lot of similar stuff like this. This is called Enchanted Autumn. And it was a block of the month. I'm pretty sure you can still purchase this. I did not purchase it with the fabric, so I have a lot of fabric stash that I'm going to use.
I've seen it. She does have fabric stash.
I do. I have stash. So this actually is a gentleman's shirt that I got from a thrift store. This is some wool. This is some leftover quilting fabric, and this is just a block that I've started. But just in here, we are fortunate that in the Washington, Oregon, Pacific Northwest area, we have Pendleton wool. And if you go down to the mill-in store, they have big bins of wool that you buy by the pound, and they're scraps. They're scraps like this.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Isn't that pretty?
Oh my gosh.
Oop, there we go. Here's the back side of it, so you get a whole different look. So what I have in here is just a ton of Pendleton wool in these colors, you know, the browns, the burgundies, cranberries, golds, etc. I have some flannel in there. Flannel can read as wool as well. I'm not sure I'm going to pull everything out, maybe just a handful of more scraps. So there was that. And of course, every time you pull something out, it's like, oh, I want to stop and stitch that. See, I came to the cross stitch world ready to be squirreled and ready to be a serial starter.
You might be the master squirrel. I don't know.
I might be. I don't know. So there was that one. The next one is a tin I have. Oops. Let me put that down there. I'm going to lose it.
You want to take right up for you, Lauren?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This might just go over in my stash.
Oh, I see.
Just kidding.
You had an ulterior motive. I used to belong to a local quilting club called Little Joe's, and that's from Jo Morton. She is a quilt designer, and she also has fabric lines. And this is just a few blocks from one of her books. Or actually, this was from a club. It wasn't from a book. These are tiny. So
you gotta show the back. The piecing is amazing.
So one of the things that you learn through Jo Morton is how to piece something very small. So the middle square in here is an inch. And then like this little tiny one in here in the middle is a 1/4 inch.
That's crazy. Can you show these guys too?
Oh, yeah. So
there's the back.
There's the back.
Perfectly pieced.
There's the front. And like I said, this is a 1/4 inch. These are about an inch. But the interesting part is she has a method to clip your seams when you have a lot of seams. There's obviously a lot of seams here. And if you're a quilter, whether you're a hand quilter or a long arm quilter, you know that having bumps in your quilt top where you have a lot of fabric joins, they can catch in your hopping foot, and you get less than desirable results. Sometimes you can actually even rip your fabric. But or if you're a hand quilter, you can't needle through it. So she has this method. These are absolutely flat. These don't feel, and that's 4 pieces of fabric together. They don't feel any wider than
Oh wow,
Yeah.
there's like, and these are perfectly pieced.
So once you learn how to piece like this, piecing anything else, piece of cake, piece of cake. So she does the really warm, wonderful reproduction colors that I like, that you've seen in a lot of, well, you've probably seen. Look at that.
They look like Thimbleberries fabrics, kind of, don't they?
Yeah, Thimbleberries had a very similar color line. Although Lynette from Lynette Jensen, she would mix in a lot of blues and kind of
true.
pinks. Yeah, these are really the more earthy autumny colors.
Autumnal.
Okay, so what's the next one? The next one. So most of you know Alma and Barb from
Blackbird.
Thank you, Blackbird
Not
Design.
to be mistaken for Mirabilia.
Not to be nope. So you know them because they are fantastic cross-stitch designers. Well, I actually came to cross-stitch through Blackbird Designs because they're also quilt designers, and I am a longtime fan of their quilts, and that's how I stumbled upon the cross-stitch world. I mean, I was aware of it, but that's how I really got interested, because I was looking for something. I don't have the entire picture of the quilt. This is actually just one block of the quilt. And this entire box here holds all of the fabric for the quilt, and it's called Birds of a Feather. I'll just hold up,
Gorgeous.
Again, the browns, the greens. Those of you who I know these aren't your colors, you're probably getting tired of them, but I just love these.
But this has like the greens, and it has some reds, which is what I love.
And then they throw in that interesting blue.
It's sort of almost a Confederate gray. You know how it's like a blue-green gray?
Yeah, it could be.
Color.
Or it's. I look at it and I think it's like a dark robin's egg.
Yeah.
It has. Yep. It has a teal undertone. I think is what makes it that kind of interesting blue color. But it was a block of the month. I have all of the blocks.
Oh, show that block. Show this one. Oh, this one. Oh man, I'm telling you, so pretty.
But the colors.
Fantastic.
So, and this is all applique. I'm probably going to do the freezer method of applique on here. But you were talking about you want to start learning to do applique.
Some needle turn.
I've done needle turn. Needle turn is not the method for me, but a lot of people really, really love needle turn.
I think if you get it, well, when you get it, you get it. But it's arduous to sort of try to learn, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to get your curves, the dips, and the...
It's kind of where you like to spend your time. So if you do the method with the freezer paper, what you're doing is you're cutting out the freezer paper in the shape, and you're cutting about a 1/4 inch. Well, no, you're cutting it exact, and you're cutting your fabric a 1/4 inch bigger. You iron the freezer paper because there's some wax on it. It sticks to it. And then you use starch. And you kind of wet the edges, and then you turn the edge and iron it down. Right. And so what you're doing is you're pre-shaping it, and then when you're laying it down, you're just doing a whip stitch. So
I probably will say I like needle turn applique, and then I'll try that. I'm like, no, I'm doing the freezer paper method. Yeah.
I always recommend everybody try and figure out what works for them.
Right.
For me, doing that ahead of time and then laying it on there and just going to town, I really like that. Okay, so the next two are our miscellaneous boxes. We never know what we're going to find in here.
The stash dive surprise.
This is stash dive. So I think most of these are wool, and I think there's a couple of hat recipes.
They're hat recipes.
Hat patterns. Well, they are recipes. I mean, it's a set of instructions to create something, right? It is.
A dash of oregano, a little bit of rosemary.
This one's a dash of flannel, a little bit of roses. And so these came out one year.
Those are cute.
I'd say maybe 5 years ago at Quilt Market. These patterns, and they're super cute on. And you make them with fat quarters and flannel. And so I bought them.
That's cute.
So this will be the inside and the outside of one hat.
Isn't that pretty? That's really cute.
And this will be, let's see, the inside and outside of the other hat.
Cute.
And I like to wear hats.
Oh, my head is too fat. Like I have too much hair, but I have a big noggin. I cannot wear hats very well.
Mine is, I mean, I have bangs, and I know they say old ladies shouldn't wear bangs, but I'm going to wear them till
I got too much real estate up here. I have to wear bangs.
Yeah.
Once I tell my hair like, you should let your hair grow out. I'm like, no. Ain't nobody want to see that.
But I never know what to do with my bangs, but I like to wear hats.
You look cute in hats, though.
So that's there. Ooh. Oh,
like
this is tie chest, so I can't really open it. This is Lisa Bonjean, Primitive Gatherings. This is all wool.
This is gorgeous.
And it is a table mat. It's actually quite large. I think it's 27, there we go, 27 by 18 and a half. And I have all of the wool. Look at that orange wool. Oh, my word.
Oh, well, I want to see that. That's gorgeous.
Isn't that? Look,
that's gorgeous.
It's got like a black modeling.
That is gorgeous.
Really pretty.
I think I have that pattern, but I don't have the fabric.
I think you know somebody who has a lot of wool stash.
And we know where to get it, too.
We do. Yep. It's just about an hour north.
Yep.
This is just a cute little candle mat, and it's pin cushions. And this is by Buttermilk Basin. Farm Girl lives not too far from Stacy West from Buttermilk Basin, and I'm so jealous. I have a lot of her stuff. I really like her patterns.
I remember when she was new to the world, new to the applique. She was up and coming, and she was on that virtual shop hop.
Yeah.
And Meg Hockey from Crabapple Hill was befriended her, and they became pals.
Yeah, they have. Well, I love Meg Hockey, and so do you. You have stuff from her, and just everything she does, I want to have. This is here. Let me.
Oh my gosh!
There's a bunch of threads here. I'm trying to do it without the glare. There's a bunch of threads and wool. I don't know.
Are those Veldani?
They're.
Or is that DMC Pearl Cotton?
It's not DMC, but it's
a Pearl Cotton.
It's a Pearl Cotton, and then just some wool. These wools, by the way, every single piece of this is from something I bought at Goodwill or Value Village, and I washed it in hot water and dried it in a really hot dryer and felted it, and most of them are coats, but you ended up getting a lot of yardage for not a lot of money. And so like on Sundays here, if you go thrifting, there's a certain color of tag that is like $1.29, and so this burgundy red that I'm going to show you was a large size lady's quilt or a coat, and I paid $1.29, and I probably ended up with maybe 5 yards of excellently felted wool. So this is from,
oh my gosh, you guys,
this is a table runner, and I'm stitching on it. This is called American Rose, and American Rose is a pattern that a lady named Marie Webster created. It was her first and most famous. She was a quilter at the turn of the last century, and she was the lady who wrote the very first quilting book in America. And she also had a mail order. Think back into the early 1910s. She had a mail order business where she would actually pre-cut patterns or pre-cut fabric, and she would mail out.
No, she kitted it up.
She kitted.
Well,
she had she would do everything. You could either just buy the pattern, you could buy it all kitted up, and the envelopes that she used to send those in are definitely collector's items. But
what was her name? Webster.
Marie Webster. There's
the
a
OG.
The what? I'm sorry.
The OG.
The OG.
Original gangster.
Right. Oh yeah, she's the OG. So her home is the Quilters Hall of Fame, and it's in Indiana, I believe.
Oh really?
So was it 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago? So a really good friend of mine owns a company called Quilt Smart, and Quilt Smart creates pre-printed interfacing that helps you do quilting, particularly for new quilters, helps you quilt things that are normally very hard. So things like Lone Star, which is all on the bias. And then she kind of branched out. She's a big Marie Webster fan, and she partnered with Marie Webster's granddaughter or great granddaughter, I can't remember, one of the G's granddaughters, and she's been releasing this interfacing so that you could do this applique Marie Webster, all of her patterns. So I think there's maybe a dozen out now, 10 to a dozen. Anyway, this was one of them, and so I was working with Maddie to make a replica of Marie Webster's original American Beauty Rose, which is in pinks and greens and darker kind of fuchsia.
You're talking my language. So, this is Lisa palette all day long. So if this ended up on my table, my feelings would not be hurt.
Okay. Anyway, so because I like working in wool, I wanted to translate the cotton pattern into wool, and that's what this is. And then I'm just kind of doing some fancy stitches.
Can I help you a little bit?
You can. My arms aren't that long.
Just
doing some
I've
fancy
got long
stitches
arms.
on this. And I put it on a black background, which is definitely not anything Marie Webster would have done. Her colors were a lot more fresh and pretty. And
Super pretty though. It really pops right off of the black.
It does. It's lovely. And this is on a black flannel, not a piece of wool. A piece of black wool this large would be
expensive.
Very expensive. So I just used a really nice quality black flannel, and which will also make it easier for me to quilt. So
did you wash it first?
No.
Okay. So Marlene and I were talking a little bit about that, stitching by the lake, and you know what I mean? So if you have a big wool applique piece, how do you finish it? What do you recommend, Lori?
Well, I answered Marlene on that. So as a long arm quilter, I quilted a lot of different things. Wool is very heavy, particularly when you're doing wool applique and you've got several layers stacked on there. It weighs a lot.
And it's expensive too.
And it's expensive as well. So it kind of depends on what you want it to look like when you're done. So if she wanted it quilted, but she's not really interested in the quilting showing, she wants to showcase maybe her stitching or the applique, then you could put flannel on the back, although flannel does weigh more than just a nice calico cotton. So what I recommended to her is if she wanted the quilting to show, and you can quilt it to where you're really popping out your applique too, it depends, then probably a high loft poly. Poly is going to be a lot lighter weight than a cotton. You could put a wool batting. Wool batting is actually lighter in weight than even the poly, in the high loft poly.
Really?
It is.
I didn't know that.
And you can get a little bit of loft with that too. So if you're really trying to make things pop out, you can do that. I would not put a flannel on the back unless she's going to put it on a bed and she was really going to use it, because it's just going to make it extremely heavy.
Yeah, flannel is heavy, isn't it? It can be heavy.
I did recommend not putting, or if she wants just the stitching to lie flat, then go ahead and just put flannel on the back and don't put anything in between it. But your stitches are not going to show.
Right.
The quilting is not going to show if you do that. So it depends on the outlook or the outcome that you're looking for. So, oh golly, we may be here all day.
This is gonna be like a 2-hour video by the time we put it all together.
This looks like a start. I know there's more pieces in here somewhere. This is the start of a candle mat. That is a piece of black wool, and that is from a gentleman's blazer. And this is the rest of it. This is another buttermilk basin, and they're little pumpkins and sunflowers, which I love.
That is cute.
So that's the colors. These are quick because you cut them, you don't need to hem them, you just do a really quick buttonhole stitch. They're fun to do. I haven't looked at this in a long time, so
I know, it's like, surprise, what's in this box?
Check this out. You know, we have the vintage trailer phase going on.
Look at that.
That was about this big, and it would make an adorable pincushion.
Very cute.
This is front porch quilts. This looks like it's also done. This is embroidery on.
Oh, so it's all buttonhole stitch.
It's all buttonhole stitch.
What do they call that pattern in quilting? This is like...
That's the apple core.
Apple core.
Apple core. This company, I'm not sure if they're in production anymore. It's called Mountain Patchworks. I have a lot of these, and they're tiny, tiny quilts. And they came with the fabric, and they came with, this was the first time I saw those itty bitty buttons from the Button Company, the ones that are like...
Oh, Jeffco?
No, it's a Button Company. Red Button Company?
Oh, no. Oh, not just another Button Company.
Or it might have been just another. Anyway, it has tiny buttons on it, and it has an interesting way of quilting this. Let's see if I can describe it. Basically, you do running stitches, but you stitch the seam down so that you're quilting it as you're, so you,
quilt as you go kind of.
it's kind of a quilt as you go, but you don't necessarily put anything behind them. But what it does is it stitches down the seam. So it's, you do it and your seam's out flat, and then you stitch it down so that that seam doesn't go anywhere.
So like stitch in the ditch?
Not really. No, you're outside of the ditch.
Okay.
I have to work on one and then show everybody. There's just some miscellaneous fabric. Oh gosh. This is one of my ideas of things to do. So this is just a piece of wool, and it just has some, what are they called? French knots.
Yep.
Or no, actually those are colonial knots. Colonial knots are easier than French knots, and you get the same result. Airborne. Airborne is a wonderful thing, but this is what I did. I wanted to stitch something that, and then stitch this around the airborne, because my scissors and needles and everything fit exactly in one of these.
Huh.
And I thought, what a great way just to drop that in my purse and not worry about my curved scissors poking a hole in anything. Yeah, all the stuff. So that was an idea. And then I was going to put a little a rounded thing on the top so it could be its own little pincushion. So that's what that is.
You're so clever.
So I forgot to ask
what you got there?
I forgot to. So we have the Sew Expo coming up in Puyallup at the end of February, beginning of March. Have you been?
No.
Do you know about it?
Yes, I see it come through my Facebook feed, I think.
Okay, so I've been going for years and years, and Sew Expo has quilting, it has cross stitch, it has
cross stitch?
I've seen a couple different usually only one or two booths. It's mostly quilting, but there's also vendors that bring in, things like, oh, you've got special lighting, or those special glasses, all sorts of things, and you never really know what's going to be there. Fabric companies come, long arm quilting companies may or may not come. It kind of changes over the years. But there was, this one's by Helen Gibb, but this was the same booth that had the gal that does the silk embroidery, the strawberries, where I got the strawberries, or no, I got the acorns and you got the strawberries.
Oh, yeah.
What was her name?
I don't remember.
Anyway.
I showed it on a couple videos ago.
So they had shared a booth, or maybe their booths were close to each other. And this is called a ribbon bracelet. And it came in a little kit. So there was a pattern. And in there came a spool of silk thread. Have you ever worked with silk thread?
No.
Feel how fine that is.
Ooh, that's tiny in terms of gauge.
That's 100 weight.
Wow.
So then it came with these little, I can't get there. So little silk flowers and buttons, etc.
Wow.
And basically, you sew all of this to this piece of silk ribbon.
Hold on. Go get your arms.
So I'm making this for my granddaughter, although she may not get it because I'm really loving this.
I was going to say, I'll be your granddaughter.
And so basically, you finish it and you've got,
it's beautiful.
It's a little bracelet. And so I was so excited when I'm almost done. It's one of those, maybe this should go in my weight pile.
Yeah. Stitch 9.
So I went and bought, I went and bought a bunch of more ribbon to make more of them.
All the goodies, right?
All the goodies.
All the goodies. Yes.
And that's what that is.
Don't you like the surprises when you find a box of something and you're like, I see that all the time on Instagram. Somebody says, I thought I lost that pattern. I thought I gave it away or I sold it, and then you find a bag or a box or something in the corner and you realize, I still have it.
So this is just a book by Bare Roots, who does embroidery very similar to Meg Hawking and such, and it's this really cute book of different,
that is adorable,
different little projects. And see, look, there's like pin keeps, and it's mostly embroidery.
Yep.
Pin keeps and but look how she did that.
Clever packaging.
Yeah, very clever packaging, and it's really cute. I think there was something in particular that was in here that I wanted, why I bought that. I don't remember. Oh, it might have been this. I wanted to make this for my granddaughter. It's like a little purse, and it's all embroidered and patchwork. Very Holly Hobby looking. So those of you of a certain age will know who that is.
Who is that?
You're not much that different of a certain age.
I'm only a couple years younger. That's not much, though.
Actually, I think you're 4 years younger.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a couple-ish.
Yeah, that's a couple.
That's a couple-ish.
A couple-ish.
A couple.
This is also Lisa Bonjean, and it was, if you ever sign up for one of her block of the months, they're typically wool projects, and they're not cheap, but wool is expensive, and she does a beautiful job. She is an awesome designer that she always throws in a little something special in your monthly thing. And so for this one, actually when you were done with it, you had another wall hanging, another quilt. So I don't know if you can see from the pattern, but what they are is there's these tiny little blocks and they're flowers. And I'll show you a couple of the finished blocks.
Oh my gosh.
So these are wool on flannel. and
these are adorable.
They came free, and then
they were free?
Yeah. So the little pattern,
this is the surprise.
This is the surprise. So every month you get this little freebie, or at least for
really
the one that I was working on. She does something different every time, so I don't want to set her up. But when you put them all together, see, there's actually,
so this is the inside layer,
right
there.
And it says to plant a flower is to believe in tomorrow.
Oh,
right.
Yep.
Okay. And then just a nice little book of needles.
Wow.
So that's that one. Oh, I've got one more thing in here. So I was talking last video about Cosmo thread. This is Cosmo thread, and it comes on a spool. So very much like the Aurifil that you got, except this is actual embroidery floss versus like a cotton pearl.
So I think now they're on skeins.
They're on. Well, they always did both, but they did these for a while.
Right. They discontinued those eventually, didn't they?
Yeah, they discontinued them. Although I have quite a large stash of them. I don't remember how many
yards?
How many yards? But it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot, and it's 2 strands. So for those of you who mostly stitch on something that needs 2 strands, you're not having to.
It's 2 strands.
It's 2 strands.
So sure is.
You can separate it. I mean, it's just like any other floss, and you can separate.
But how convenient is that?
And you just roll off whatever you need.
Cut and go.
Cut and go, and it's really high quality. It's Cosmo, and it's produced out of Japan, and they do have a really nice textile industry.
Yeah, they do.
So
some of the Japanese stitchers, if you ever will see them on Instagram,
particularly quilting.
Yes, and it's meticulous. Like the finishing is perfect and well stitched.
You don't typically see really large quilts come out of Japan. I mean, you will if you look at the stuff that's from the Japanese quilt market, which is an international quilt market.
Did you see the one with all the little geishas on there? It's
yes.
It must have been 1,000. Wow, that was amazing.
They are amazing. There's one that came out last year. I think it was either best of show or it was first prize. And it's a lighthouse, and then it's the light that goes out like that. And the beams of light are all these tiny little patchwork squares. It's hard to describe, but it's beautiful. You could probably just look online if you look for
Best of Show
or Japanese International Quilt Market. It's on my bucket list of things. My son he did it before he started high school, so I think he has 5 years of Japanese, and he did international baccalaureate level Japanese. So I promised him a trip to Japan if he would interpret for me. And I would take him during quilt market. He had to go during quilt market, which he wasn't totally thrilled about. But
so do you want to? Maybe we'll.
Do you want to do this?
Where are we? I think we're at about an hour.
Yeah. Well. Probably more because this one here is about 50 minutes, and we had one before this. Do you want to call it? We'll save this for next time.
Let's save that one for next time.
Okay.
And then we will insert a clip of Lori checking out some of my stash dive.
We're going to check out Lisa's drawers.
Yes.
Okay.
And then so we'll insert that clip right here. All right. So you've always wondered what's in my drawers. We're going to take a look.
Let's just start at the top.
Let's just start at the top. Oh, this one. So so in here is, we all know I'm a painter, right, too. I have just a bunch of painting stuff, some gold leafing.
Ooh.
Right, I've done some gold leafing before. Look at this pattern. This is cute. I've got the wood for this too.
Oh, that is adorable.
Yeah.
So does that come like, it's like a top and then it has a little door that
Yep.
opens?
It's this is the top here. And it's just like a bottom round and the top, and then I think you have to, I don't remember how the gumdrop goes on there. Some previous paintings. I always like to keep little things that help you with, you know, perspective. You can use this whether if you're designing or you're quilting or you're drawing, anything like that.
So you're getting like the depth and the distance and that sort of thing.
Yep.
Ooh, those look pretty.
These are some patterns I have.
Oh, here, let me help you.
This is one I painted for and my mother-in-law has it somewhere.
We're gonna have to do some bartering between painting and quilting and
right,
wool.
right. This was a fun one to paint.
Oh, it's stunning.
Thank you.
I could see this like on the back of a bench or something.
Oh, that would be a good idea. That's a great idea. And then that's just sandpaper. Here's something, I don't remember what I painted this on, but it's tool painted.
So what kind of pins do you use to, that looks like it's a, oh, what is that kind of paper called? It's a tracing paper.
It's vellum.
A vellum, right. And then what kind of pins do you use?
Well, so if you're going to, what you do is you put in like this.
Okay, so like carbon paper?
This is graphite paper, and you can get it in white. And you use a stylus, and you put this between the surface that you're going to paint on and your pattern, and then you just trace over it.
So do they come this way, or are you tracing it out of a book before you trace it?
Oh, this came in the book, and then it was copied onto vellum, and then you can just trace it onto your... And you can use a light board, or you can just use that. So these are stencils. I've used this numerous times, right? So 3 different... So you can create a checkerboard effect. You can use that in scrapbooking, too.
Oh, you know what we're going to have to use those for? We're going to have to use those for dyeing.
Oh,
because
yes.
I will share with you a technique that you make this flour paste as a resist so that you don't get the dye in wherever you're doing that.
Sorry.
And, yeah, ooh, that would be pretty too.
This one I used it as a tone-on-tone. It's a stencil. It's kind of stuck there. But you use a spray adhesive to keep your stencil down.
Like a 505?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just, like, you can just use a stencil brush to... So I think I've got something... I did a wood frame, picture frame, and did that on there.
That is really pretty.
So what else is in this drawer?
Oh, I don't know. It looks like a lot of goodies.
I know, look at that one. That's a pretty... This is... I can't remember who this gal is. I have several of her patterns. She is... Here's another one of hers.
Oh, look at those pumpkins.
Yeah.
Oh, this has a bee's keep on it. Oh.
Right?
Look what it's on.
I know, right?
Look, I have 2 pie cupboards.
Well, I was going to paint one side and put of mine that has books in it right now with that. Never got around to it. And a candle.
So did you take classes to learn to do the toll painting?
Yeah, for years. And I do take it still now. But, oh, there's another one of that Christmas one. This is Yvonne Kressel.
Okay.
And here's another design of hers that's a fall one.
I always liked the toll painting.
Yeah, it's all very, folk art-ish. This is the same guy. Isn't that pretty?
I bet Pam would love that.
Right?
Oh, interesting.
Right, on a saw?
On a saw.
But doesn't this look like it should be a dimensions kit?
It does. I bet it could be a dimensions kit. I bet
yeah? No, look at that.
Oh, I love that Santa face.
Ooh,
look at rosy
that.
cheeks.
Yes.
And a bow, or what is it, a mouth drawn up like a bow? Is that what from Night Before Christmas? Is that what they say? It's like, are those, it's a Christmas tree. He's holding up a Christmas tree with lights.
And look at the, the candles. Man, can you imagine that stuff? Wax falling on you? Oh, so this looks like a Charles Wysocki, is what it looks like, right?
It does.
So that's...
So I just got squirreled from what's in your drawer to... Where did you find these?
I found these at Craft Warehouse. I call it Craft Warehouse because, you know.
Uh-huh.
And then I, in another drawer, I have milk paint stuff and the wax. I showed you the wax that I used earlier.
So she has milk paint in another drawer, but look what she has just like right here.
I know all the stuff. So I was doing a finish, and I used this wax. So Farm Girl showed a tutorial where she did milk painting, and then this one is it smells like oranges. Oh. It's all natural.
Oh, so it's Howard's. Oh, you know, I use Howard's for refinishing my vintage and antique sewing machine cabinets.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know he had a hard paste. So did you order that online, or did you buy it locally?
So I think I'm running out of space on my iPad, but there's drawer number 1. I'll take you on a tour of the other drawers at some point in time.
Are you sure?
Do you want to see another drawer?
Let's just do at least one more. Let's see if we can squeak it in.
All right. Let's just see what's in the next drawer down. Oh.
Holy smokes.
You know what this is?
What is that?
This is my drawer of 36 and 40 count fabric.
You have a drawer dedicated to 1 or 2
fabric type. Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I just want to dive in.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
So this is Lakeside Fawn.
Oh, you know, I have a piece of fawn. I really like that.
Mm-hmm. It's actually, oops. I'm dropping stuff here.
That's a foul. That's a party foul.
And that is Pearl Barley,
which
right?
you love. I know you've got a couple pieces.
This is the vintage one. This is the other part of that that I won from Victoria Motto.
Yeah, she does beautiful stuff.
This is...
looks like a dark exemplar, maybe?
Probably. I don't think I have a...
Oh, this one's a lovely piece, whatever it is. Look at that kind of rosy...
Yep, the variegation.
Yeah, the variegation.
I don't remember what this is.
I'm not sure either. It might be... Is this a meadow rue?
It might be vintage meadow rue.
Yeah, I think it's a meadow rue.
Okay, so
look at the stacks, you guys.
This is a new one that I picked up. This is vintage lilac.
Ooh.
Sorry, I'm pulling stuff out so the people that are watching on mine are...
Nope, this works.
Isn't that pretty?
Is that going to be a sampler?
Oh, this has got a little bit of stuff on it.
Fuzz.
This is a, I don't know what it's going to be. I really liked the fabric, so I bought a fat half of it.
I think there's going to be a couple samplers that we've just been discussing that might look
good on that.
Yeah.
So this is Misty Purcell's.
Uh-huh.
I bought it from her. Pretty? Yeah, isn't that gorgeous? That's the 36
I think that was one of the
green.
first ones that she came out with, right?
Well, she designed the Noel one that goes on that, so...
I don't even need to go down to Portland. I just need to come shopping in Lisa's stash.
This is Pearl Barley. Sometimes, so you could see it looks different, right?
Yeah, I have a piece that's more this color, and this is not the pearled or the vintage. I think the vintage can make a difference.
Definitely, definitely. This is pecan butter. Ooh, I love this one.
I do too.
Yeah.
I am super excited to go to Dying to Stitch because
vintage exemplar. Yeah. Okay, so this is a sampler gold that I got from Color and Cotton.
I have a piece of this too.
Oh, I mean, that is gorgeous fabric. This is vintage light exemplar, and this is vintage Pearl Barley. See how it's got more of a model to it? Yeah. I really like the vintage.
I think I was with you when you bought that because I think I have a few pieces of that as well, at least that dye lot.
Oh, could be. A vintage lentil. See how green that is?
Now you're doing your Ann Dale on lentil, right?
No, I'm doing on vintage patina.
Oh, patina. Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is less tan and more, it's definitely green. Like this is showing more green on my camera. This is in real life. This is more tan with some green.
Yes.
So this is Pitches Plus Arctic, and that has a little bit of green with mostly blue. And I picked this up at Stitchville when we were there.
Oh my gosh! Look at that stack. Espresso.
Yeah. Okay. So I am running out of storage space. So we kind of kept going, and there's this is vintage lentil. This is a little bit of espresso. Oops. And so this is a silk weaver.
That is so pretty.
Isn't that pretty? This is, what's this called? This is a 36 count almond. Yeah, that's a really pretty one.
It's interesting. So it's kind of showing up as a really light taupey color with some green in it on my camera, but it's really more, it is kind of an almond color, but it does have that just hint of green modeling. It's so pretty.
Yeah, it's much more golden in real life, I would say.
There's a better...
For you? Okay.
Yeah, if I change the angle and then I get a different...
Okay.
Different color.
So I'm going to keep going until I run out of storage space on here. So this is vintage buttercream. This is the old vintage buttercream.
Oh, that's a lot lighter.
Yeah, it is.
You cannot have too much buttercream.
I know, right?
No such thing. Whether it's cakes or cross stitch.
Agree. This is vintage. This is bisque.
Ooh.
It's super. This is just really a nice creamy. What color would you say this is? Like 844 if you were talking about DMC?
I'm not as good on the DMCs. It's a nice it's a nice ecru. Yeah. It's not too warm, but it's just a nice basic color. Ooh, is this a pear?
This is a limited run that I bought off a stash and load of Lakeside. It doesn't have a... It doesn't have a name, but...
I have a limited run, too. That's a really pretty color.
Yeah.
So, you have a lot of 36 and 40 in here. Is that your preferred? Is 40 your preferred?
It depends. You know, it depends. I would say that sometimes you want 32. Like, I might have another drawer of 28 and 32. I'm just saying. Yeah. This is Silvery Moon. So, it depends on if I want to manage to scale the project to make it something that's reasonable to frame. And sometimes if you make something that's on 40 count, you lose some of the detail if it's too small. Oh, this is Springtime.
Oh, look at that.
Isn't that pretty?
That does look like springtime, doesn't it?
And I have a crosswing collection of it's not cardinals. What is on there? I can't remember.
Looks like, and it's a vintage springtime.
Yeah, looks like vintage springtime.
Do they still make this?
I think so.
I'm gonna have to look for that.
Ask.
I really like that
one. So look at that one.
Ooh.
That's my vintage pearl barley. This is probably my favorite to stitch on. I love this.
That's the pearl barley. I mean, the other one we're looking at was much lighter.
Well, it doesn't have the vintage on it, right? It doesn't have the modeling. This is a difference on the vintage. Pearl barley. Now this is vintage pecan butter. Oh, no, pear. I'm sorry. And I bought this for a Scarlet House design, and this was very gray compared to a different dye lot that we just saw at Acorns and Threads that was much greener.
Yeah, the one I just purchased is a lot greener than this, but this is really pretty.
Yep. This is, okay, this is Antique Ivory. This is just Zweigart. But I tell you, this I think we're going to try an over dye on.
Yeah.
Right? So we did some dyeing before on a white. It definitely comes out different when you have a different base fabric, right?
It does. And this one, regardless of the name that it's called, to me it looks like a pecan color or an almond color rather than, what were you saying? It's a antique ivory. This looks like the ivory is very antique.
Right. It looks like the tusk of an elephant or something.
Yeah,
you know?
It's been discolored. Yeah, but it's pretty.
Oh, this is Regency. So this is Picture This Plus Regency. But you definitely see a little hint of peach in here, but mostly green. Where Legacy is mostly gold.
This is
Isn't that
really pretty. I think I have a piece that they're calling it something else. They're not calling it Regency, but I think when I got my fabric for the Brenda Gervais, the box with the Santas.
That's
the color.
Tannenbaum?
Yeah, the Tannenbaum. That's what my fabric that it came with looked like, and that's why I went and picked a different fabric because I didn't really imagine it being on a green.
Oh, I think it'd be pretty on a green though. Green, gold, and red. So this is vintage Tundra.
Ooh.
Definitely a gray, right? And it has a little tiny bit of modeling on it. Here's some more pearl barley scraps. I don't tend to throw a lot of those scraps away. This is platinum.
I don't throw anything. Even if you're just down to scissor fob size, right?
This is Zweigart. This is a great, to me, this is a great go. Now, now that you've seen what's in my drawers, there's really no mystery, right? No surprise.
Well, you know that Susie Reno showed what was in her drawers.
Oh, she did. She showed her drawers in her drawers.
Yeah, she showed her drawers in her drawers. So yeah,
this is my craft drawers.
Yeah. Hers were actually her underwear drawers.
Hers were really her drawers in her drawers. So we want to talk a little bit about what's upcoming. What do you think? Our grand tour?
Yeah. Take it away.
Take it away. Okay, so we are going on a retreat extravaganza coming up. And in April, we're heading down to Phoenix first and going to the Stitchnanigans, McKenna's retreat.
Yeah, there's nothing but shenanigans going on with McKenna.
Oh, yes. It should be a good time. In fact, I don't know that you'll see many social media posts because probably you won't be able to see them.
No, they won't be PC.
No. We're doing that. And then, so we have planned to go to the Midwest Cross Stitch Retreat that Michelle Brady puts on. So we've faithfully gone since May of last year. We've gone to two now, right? May and October, we're going back.
Yep.
This is the one with Priscilla and Chelsea, right? And so I have always wanted to go to Spring Green Sampler in Spring Green, Wisconsin. So we thought, well, maybe we can make it work so we could go in a couple days early and then drive over the retreat. And then we saw that the Dying to Stitch retreat was going on the weekend before. So the stars aligned.
Yes, they did.
Stars aligned.
We were worried. It was touch and go there for a little bit.
Yeah, we were like nervous. Do you think we're going to get in? I don't know. We're going to get in.
What's plan B?
Yeah, we talked to Donna Ray first. Like, what do we need to do? Like, what's the magic with this? You just got to submit your form. On time. Right?
On time.
That was the key. So we are going to the Dying to Stitch retreat. I just saw today that Kelly and Mama Joan are going.
Oh, cool.
I know. Carol Saltbot Stitcher's going.
Carol's awesome.
A lot of Instagrammers who, they have posted Maud Mozart's going, Brenda Sampler Stitcher's going. Like, there's a whole group that goes together.
Oh, cool.
So they're going. So we're going to fly to Virginia and stay probably an extra day. Somebody said to go to Williamsburg. Make sure we do that. So then we're going to fly to Milwaukee and drive to Spring Green and stay in the apartment above
Country Sampler
for a few days, and then we're gonna drive. It's about 4 hours away.
It's 4.5 hours. We're gonna drive from the Country Sampler Spring Green to Chaska, Minnesota.
Yeah, to the Midwest retreat.
To the Midwest Cross Stitch retreat. So it is definitely going to be Lori and Lisa's great adventure.
The grand tour of the Cross Stitch retreats.
Yes. With a little quilting thrown in because.
Oh yes. We both like to quilt, so I will have to bring an extra bag.
Well, I think I told you that I gave my daughter both when she was visiting last, and her bag was falling apart when she flew in from Tucson, and so I gave her both of my luggage. So I have to go buy new luggage.
Darn!
And so I've done this before. You have to strategize. So you try to pack everything in the smaller bag that fits in the larger bag, so that when you come back, you have two.
Yes.
And you have an empty one that you can fill up. And then there's always USPS, right? You can.
That's right.
You can pick it up. You can.
So we could just make a box. We can get a box and then make a handle, duct tape it, and we could check that.
We could do that. Yeah, we could do that.
We'll have to figure it out. So stay tuned. We'll post some stuff on Instagram. I'm sure maybe some. I don't know if we'll vlog it, but sort of like Thelma and Louise.
Except for the end part.
Right, we're not driving off a cliff.
No,
we're not.
The credit card might go off the cliff, but we're going to stay here.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I've never been to Virginia.
I haven't either.
I mean, I've been to the East Coast, but I have not been to that area, and it's definitely an area that I've always wanted to visit.
So
we're so excited.
And I'm excited to meet different people. So the different retreats, you meet different people. The first retreat I went to was a Mirabilia retreat, and I have some great friendships that I built there. And then going to the Midwest, you meet different people there. Then I went to New Jersey last year too, and that was fun. You meet different people. Some of those people will be at the Arizona retreat, so it's fun. And
it is.
I mean, I feel fortunate that we can do this, right? Kind of in a time in our life when we can, when we have a lot of kids at home. It's different, you know.
Yeah. So yes, definitely feel fortunate. So we're gonna bring you along and share our good fortune with you. So
yes,
awesome.
That's it.
I think so. So this is Lori McClary, Texstylust.
Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher.
Signing out.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.